Hi, in this video I'm going to be giving you a little video tour of eCampus, which is also known as Blackboard, and also MyMathLab, which is the program where you'll do most of your assignments, probably all of them. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to click on Online Tools. Notice I'm on the Dallas homepage, and I'll click on eCampus, and I'm not sure how you get in, but I have to click on Assess My Courses now. And then I click on the link for this course, which is right here. And the first thing you're going to see is you're on the announcements page, and you're going to want to read this announcement. It tells you what's in here, gives you an introduction. It basically tells you what the main things you're going to be finding in eCampus. But it also tells you to print out the syllabus. So let's click on syllabus and click on this link. And you can scroll through it here. It's probably easiest to download it and then print it out, although you could probably just print it out using the print button. But you want to read through it and make sure you understand the things that are on there. Basically, anytime during this semester where you're not sure about something, you should be able to find it on the syllabus. Of course, you can always ask me as well. So make sure you know what's on the syllabus. I do have a syllabus video, but that's just going to go over the most important things. All right, so let's see what else we have here. So taking an online course. So there's actually two links here. If you click on the first one here, this is a Dallas College webpage, and getting started with online courses. Has some really good information. It was very well done. And at the bottom there's a nice little video. It's short and sweet. I think it's just a couple minutes. But all of those are good things to check out before you start if you've never taken an online course, or if you want to kind of step it up because maybe the last time it didn't go so well. The other thing I would point out is there's also this other link which actually has 5 links where you can look at online learning, and the one we just looked at up above is just one of those 5. So you can get all the information you need right here, as much as you want. So let's go ahead and move on, and now we're going to be going into MyMathLab, but before we do that, let's see discussion board. I don't have anything set up in there yet, but that's where you're going to be introducing yourself and sharing maybe 1 or 2 things that you learned from looking through the online course materials that I'm going to have you look at. I'll be setting up groups sometime later this week. If you want to email me, you can use this link. Resources. If you click on this, it's not a bad idea to check it out and see what's in here. It talks about accessibility, academic advising, and some other things in here. And library, tutoring resources. And so I do have a tutoring button, but you may be able to get to the tutoring information through here as well. Let's see, what else do we have? We have the help button. So when you look in the help button, you'll see for eCampus help, you can get online support here, or there's a phone number. There are eCampus and Blackboard tutorials, and so those are there. And let's see, what else do we have? Tutoring with 1T. This is where you'll go to do online tutoring. Basically, I'll set up a tutoring session and you'll enter it through here. We have the Math Tutoring Center. This actually gives you step-by-step directions to enter that. And I would encourage you to check it out and see what you think. Of course, you also have me to help. And then we have the division office. And when you click on that, for some reason it didn't go directly to the link, but you can click here. And this will actually take you directly to the dean's office, to the secretary or the person that's in there. And then if you need to talk to the dean, that's how you would go about doing that. So that pretty much tells you about everything except for MyMathLab. So let's go ahead and look at MyMathLab. So the first thing, if you haven't used MyMathLab before or recently, on whatever computer you're using, you're going to want to run the browser check. Now my computer already has everything it needs, and so you can see the only thing it's talking about is possibly test generator, which I don't need. And so if you have certain things you need to download, that's where you would do that. And before we get into assignments, which is where you're normally going to go, notice to find your grades, you'll click on here. Of course, there's nothing in here right now. Well, I've done a few problems. Not doing so well so far. This is how you get into the textbook. And it takes a little bit of time to load up. Maybe a lot of time. There we go. And so that's going to be the first page, and we can click on here. Let's say we want to go to section 1.3. That's how you would get in there. Of course, I've got this page minimized, but once you make it full size, it's pretty easy to navigate through here. But that's where you can get to the book. But most of the time, you'll probably get to the book when you're in the homework, because you can also get into it there. So let's get back to where we were. So we have the textbook, and then this is called the Multimedia Library. And for each assignment that I'm going to give you, you'll have a link that says videos, and that actually takes you to this multimedia library. So for example, if I click on chapter 1 and section 3 and select all, it gives me all the different resources that are available to you to help you learn the material. And again, that's what you're going to find in those video folders right above each homework assignment. But the nice thing about this is you can, like if it's later in the course and you want to go back to something earlier in the course, you can use this to do that. So let's click out of there. Integration support. So if you click on that, if for some reason you have to contact MyMathLab because you're having problems this semester, they're going to want to know this ID number, because that's how that's what identifies how the MyMathLab course is entered, or I should say integrated with eCampus. And so they would ask you for that. And you can even download that information and then paste it back to the people that are asking, or that you're asking for help. And finally, if you're interested in accessible resources, you can find them here, or they talk about that here. And so I think that's all I want to say about all of those. Let's get into the assignments. So this is where you'll be doing all your assignments. I want you to notice we already had that one place where we can go and we can find out about online learning as far as what Dallas College has to say about it. But MyMathLab has some materials as well. And so college transition deals with students transitioning from high school to college. And then there's a total of 8 articles, or 8 videos that you can watch. I would encourage you to pick a couple. If you want to read, if you want to go through them all, that's great too. But and then once you've at least, you've got hopefully the Dallas College video that you've checked out in that one page, and maybe do 1 or 2 of these. And then when you do your introduction, you're going to just, hopefully you'll have 1 or 2 things that you pulled out of that you think are worthwhile, and you'll share those when you introduce yourself. All right, so that's that. Oh, I'm going to go back into assignments. It takes a little bit of getting used to navigating MyMathLab. A lot of times you just click out of the tabs that are up above here, but sometimes you use the arrow, so you'll get used to that. How to enter answers in MyMathLab. If you go in there, there's a video. I'll just warn you, the lady liked to put me to sleep when I listened to her, but she did show a lot of things that are good to know for how to enter answers in MyMathLab. So if you are not comfortable with technology, you may want to check that out. Or if at some point you're just having problems putting your answers into MyMathLab, I would encourage you to watch that. You'll notice the dates, due dates here are pretty much throughout the whole semester. And then I have an introduction video to the calculator that we recommend for this course. Basically, in this video, you'll find that I go through the most basic features of the calculator. And then later on, I'll do one on financial formulas where things get more complicated. So just watch the video if you have an interest in that, or if you're having problems using your calculator at some point. All right, so now we're ready to do what you're going to be doing quite frequently throughout this course. So we'll click on the video link, and like I said before, you're going to have access to the textbook. For this section, you have the PowerPoint notes, and then you have these videos here. So my encouragement to you would be that you have a notebook and you watch the videos and take some notes, and then you do your homework. If you want to try out the PowerPoint notes, some of them are better than others, and then of course you can always look through the examples in the textbook, but you also have access to those as you're doing homework. In fact, all these videos are integrated into the homework, and so when you click on video when you're doing homework, you're going to come back to these. There's not any other videos for this section. All right, so I'm going to click the tab to get out of here, and I guess I should have done arrow. So let's go back to assignments, and let's go into the homework assignment. But I'm not going to do this one here. I'm going to do another one because I want to show you a couple things. So we'll click on this one here. And notice, it gives the title, it gives the due date here. Notice if it's done after the due date, it's worth half credit. And we're going to go to question 5. Now, normally you click on question 1. Actually, we can do that. And normally when you answer the problem correctly, it'll take you to the next problem. But you can also arrow to the right. And I'm going to do that until we get to the 5th problem. And so here we go. We got 10 squared. And I'm going to say that's 20. Of course, that's not right. And so it's telling me it's not right. Now you could put in some other answers, but I'm just going to keep hitting check answer. It's still wrong, and final check, still wrong. And so now I go to the next question, and notice I have a red X. And if I go back, you can see the red X. Now I didn't have to go forward. I could have just clicked on similar question, and you can always come back and do this later. But if I click on similar question, it gives me a new problem, and I'll put in the right answer and check my answer, and sure enough, I got it right. And now it'll take me to the next question, and notice it changed that red X to a green check mark, which means it's right. And so the first thing I want you to understand is you have the ability to get 100% on every homework assignment if you're willing to go back and make those corrections. All right, so the other thing I want to show you is question help. So as you're doing problems, you can click on question help. Now there's no videos in here, but if there were videos, they would be those videos that you had in the other video file. And so you're not going to get new videos, although it'll take you back to the one that you may have seen before, or maybe you skipped it and you want to go back, you can. So if you click on help me solve this, it'll help you solve this problem, and then it will give you a new problem for your homework. And then, but the alternative, a lot of people prefer this. They'll click on view an example, and they'll see how it's done, and then they'll do this problem, and they're done. If you want to go to section 4.1 in the textbook, you just click here. You can print out the homework. You just have to be careful because I think depending on how you do it, when you come back, the problems could change. So I don't remember how that works, but you just got to be careful with that. You can play around with that if you prefer to print out your problems and work them on paper. And then finally, ask my instructor. A lot of times students will get to a harder problem, quite frequently they're word problems, and they'll just click on this button, ask my instructor, and I'll send back a written solution if it's not too much work, or if it's relatively simple to understand. If it's a little bit more involved, I might make a video and I'll send the video back to you, and then I'll also make those videos available somewhere in the course. So I haven't set that up yet. Actually, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that because I'm not sure. That's something I'll have to look at. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. You just you can move through these problems with the arrows, but after you do a problem, you just when you get the right answer, it'll take you to the next problem. It does automatically save, but it's always a good idea to save before you go out, or it'll ask you if you want to save. So we're going to go ahead and click on Save. And notice you can see the problems that I've done. You can see that there's still work to be done here. Anyway, that's all I have to say about eCampus and MyMathLab. If you have any questions or you run into any problems, just let me know.